warm welcome to the Seaside Farm. Hello and a warm welcome to the Seaside Farm, the knitting by the Seaside Farm, and me, Brit. In this knitting word, I call myself BritStrikkenerd because I'm from Norway, and if I translate BritStrikkenerd, it will be like Brit knitting nerd, I think. And the usual way, I come to this podcast with only my Norwegian language, but in this last month I have tried to do it also in English. It's a new way for me to come out and inspired, I hope, with my knitting, and also to get known our more knitters friend in the whole world, I hope. Yes, because I have experienced that in Norwegian, in the way I have this podcast, I get more new friend, more knitting friend that I can talk to and I meet in this world, and now I try to get wider in this world. So then I take this jump in this English podcast knitting word. And as I said, I hope you can get a little inspired, because my passion is to talk about knitting. I have such a joy of knitting, and I love yarn. I as a knitting nerd, but also a yarn nerd. And I love this color, bright color, but also nature color, because in this farm we have a lot of sheep, and that is the old Norwegian sheep, also called the Villull, and they have this pelsull, that's it, little famous. And if you see the last episode, that I talk a lot about the Hillesvåg and the Hillesvåg mill, I talk about their focus on this pelsull, and my pelsull, my wool from my sheep Villull, I will talk a little bit of today, because this is fresh new wool that I have picked up from the local mills in Trondheim called Selbu spinneri, and now it's bringing back home to me from wool from my sheep to yarn that I can knit from. And I shall talk a little bit more about that longer in the episode. Yes, and first I have to thank you all that have writing these comments, that I can see where you come from, and I be so happy to see that it's from Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all that I want, that I can communication with knitters from the whole world. It makes me so happy and grateful, and that is the meaning by doing this in English, that I can get known of other knitters in this world. Thank you, thank you. And I hope you will take time to leave a comments also in this episode. And I have a little surprise because I have a little giveaway in this episode also. And I had drawn a winner from the last episode that the prize is this Villull wool from Hillesvåg. And I will talk about the new prize in this episode longer from. Yes. Yes, you will hear it. Yes. And now, so the sun is back in Frøya, and that the joyful days after I had 14 days of rain, wind, yes, bad weather all the time. And then the sun is coming, all it's forgotten. And yesterday it was a little windy, but this was the perfect day to have the laundry. I have a lot of washing machine and get out to hang clothes outdoors. It's a privilege. Yes, it's a very good thing to do when the sun is shining and the wind is blowing warm, and you can get a lot of laundry done in one day. Yes, that is a perfect thing in Frøya. Because I don't say what the place is called. It's called Frøya. Frøya is next to the city Trondheim. We have to drive at the last 2 hours to get in Trondheim. And my farm, I have also a name. The name of the farm is Nerkrubben. Yeah. So now you know that, yes. And here in Frøya, it's a little island, and we have no mountains, so it's flat. And when it's windy, almost every time windy, but in this warm, windy weather with the sun, is the perfect day to wash the clothes. And I have made some videos that I hang out my clothes in my snow. I don't know what it's called. But that is good days just now when the summer is coming back here in Norway and Frøya, in the middle of Norway. The south of Norway have had summer long time. You know, Norway is a very long country, so the weather is changing from the south to the north. Yes. So when there is summer in the Oslo, you have winter in Tromsø. Yes. So it is. But we shall talking about knitting, shall we not? Yes. And you see I have this happy color summer tea on me. Oh, that make me so glad. Yes. The color I have used yarn from yes, a calendar, a Christmas calendar, and some leftover from others project. And this sweater, or this summer tea, is called Ep.3. Ep.3 come she will, but it's not April now, it's June, so I have finished it in May, I think, but the name is April come she will. And the designer is a Norwegian designer called Tone Cecilie, or Tese Knits in Instagram, and she has a lot of pattern in English on Ravlery, and this one is also in English. And all of the pattern Tone Cecilie do is in English, so that you can also knit if you want. And this is a very, very easy summer tea, and it's similar with others stripy tea you perhaps have seen in the world, but this increase is a little different, I think. They get, if you can see, a little hole down here in the yoke, and so it's got the right down in the bottom. And because I use this color from the calendar, you get a little fade in the stripe. So I get not this smaller stripe, it got little bigger stripes. There the fade is. But I don't think that do nothing. Yes. I like it as it is. And it's just perfect now in this summer weather in Freya, so endelig. Endelig, can I use it? Endelig. I don't know the English word, but I can write it down here. And I have to talk a little more about Tone Cecilie, because she has lot of other pattern, I say, in English, and I have knit one more. This shawl I knit in this winter, and I love it because this color stripes again, and she called this pattern Sound of Silence. And here I also have used a lot of small skeins from my Christmas calendar from many years ago, and now it can glittering in this scarf. And the pattern is also here very easy. You knit this start and go over to have these waves, and I love it. So if you have a lot of 20-gram skeins, this is just a perfect project for the yarn, I think. And I will also show you two others design Tone Cecilie has done. Is so I have a very thing to knit. It's to my to-do list. Yes, and there's this shawl called Bliss, and you see it here. That you can use colorful one skeins yarn, I think, a ball of yarn that changes color in the yarn, like kauni perhaps, and knit this beautiful Bliss shawl. And the last pattern she lay out is a very fun design, I think, and she called it the Gabusara shawl, and it's a little inspired by the Stephen West. I know she loves Stephen West because I have met Tone Cecilie at a knitting weekend at a place called Løkken in Fortuna. I have a picture of us, and when we meet for the first time, we saw that we was the color friends because we look similar in the colors, like as you see here, as when we meet, pink and purple, both of us. And she was a very nice person to meet and talk to, and she has so much inspiration to give, and I know she loves Stephen West. So I think she get a little inspired by him to make a happy, nice shawl also. And you can find Tizzy Knits on Instagram. She has not a podcast to wear, dessverre. Yeah, it's she should start one. and she live in the more south of Norway, called Stavanger, southwest. I will see. Yes, I will say. Yes, but now I begin to get in this bubble English, and in the start I think it's so difficult to find the words and to jump from Norwegian to talk in English. That's not what I do every day, so I have to go into it before it go more naturally. Yes. But that was Tone Cecilie, and it was the new thing I have knitting since we was talking last time. And yes, just perfect for this summer season, this colorful little summer tea. Yes. And in the last episode, I talked much about Hillesvåg and the Hillesvåg yarn, and I show you this little children jumper that called Sankthansgenerseren. And Sanktans is the day you in England call the St. John's Day, I think. It's the 23rd of June, and she have called this jumper for Sankthansgenerseren, and the designer is Wenche Roald that I talked about last time, and she has written a big book that she has collecting all Norwegian pattern and take it to a new design. The book is called Inspired Norwegian Pattern, I think. Yes. And I talk about this little boy, this little figure out here in the joke. I was a little afraid that it will not see in this jumper, but you see it a little bit, I think. So it got better when I block it. And I have get inspired by a book of Else Beskow called Putte I blåbærskogen, Putte in the blueberry wood. And in the colorways I was inspired. And the color I have used, the yarn I have used is from Hillesvåg called Sølje. That is their Pelsul wool. And this brown is from Hillesvåg. This green one has been hand-dyed by the Norwegian hand dyer called Kate Design. And this blue one is also hand-dyed by a Norwegian hand dyer called Emilie in Arctic Yarns. Arctic Yarns it's no longer exist, I think. So, but Kate Design is still here. And perhaps I meet her today, because today I shall travel to Trondheim to get in this yarn market that is in the place called Olavshallen. And tomorrow I shall meet some podcaster from the middle of Norway, that we shall have a little meeting talking about that to do podcast and the knitting, all about the knitting, all the time we can, and we can meet our friends that talk in the same language, knitting language. Oh, that is a happy day. But I have no children to give it to, so I have to hid it. Yes. Perhaps I get some grandchildren someday, and then I can take it back, take it and give it to some of my new grandchildren if I get someone. I have 6 children, so it shouldn't. Someone have to have some children, I hope. That I get to be a grandmother. Yes, I hope that. These my wishes. Yes. And we shall today visit our oldest daughter that shall have a choir concert. So we shall go to that also in this evening, and that we see much forward to. Yes. Yes. So, that it fall down. There it was. And now I have to change, because I have finished one more project that I started on after the next episode, because I get inspired by myself. Yes, I can do. I can be inspired by myself. When I was talking about all this Hillesvåg yarn, and I found this Sølje yarn from Arctic Yarns, this blue one, I get so inspired to start with a Wilfreda of Wenche Roald. And now I have to change that. You have to see, but I don't, before I've been finished and I change, I will show you a little movie with this April, come she will, that I jump in this with my next to the sea by my house, so you can see a little of my place, and I dancing with this new April here she comes. Yes, then you have seen me dancing with April. Here she comes, and now she is have taken new one, new sweater on her. Yes, on me. And this is Wilfreda, and Wilfreda is the most popular design in Norway in these days. All of us will knit a Wilfreda of Wenche Roald, and this is a two-stranded, you have two stranded together and get a little lightweight jumper. It's much similar to Love Note. I talked a bit about it last time, and Ranunculus, but it's a different pattern on this joke, of course, but it's much like the same feeling to have this Wilfreda on my body. Yes, and because I found this sølje, this beautiful blue sølje from Arctic Yarns, and I know I have a little treasure from a hand-dyed fabric that called garnsur that no longer exists, and I think that will go very well together. And this color is also inspired by the sea and the ocean. If you look at this color and this white, I can call it waves, or it could be the sky that is glittering in the sea. So this is much very much inspired by the sea I live next to, because I suddenly see that the color will match perfect in this picture I have in the head with the sea. And it's a jumper that have long sleeves, but I have done it short sleeves, and that was because I only have one skein 50 grams of this garnsur mohair, and I wanted it should be in almost the whole jumper sweater. But also I have a little tilia that I use in this end of the sleeves and in the bottom. And because of that, I did a little change of the pattern. The pattern have in the sleeves right on, and you get to the ribbing and also the bottom. But I take this border, I like this first border in the pattern so much that I take it in the end also, in the sleeves and in the bottom. I shall show you here, you see? And I have a little hole pattern in the mitten and an I-cord to the end. Also here in the bottom. And that I think it get a more feminine look that I like very much. So now I can use it on the party or on the usually day, yes. And it's so beautiful to have it on. I like it so much, and I understand why this Wilfreda is going crazy in the knitting world here in Norway. And lucky for you, this pattern is also in English. So find yourself a tiny little wool yarn, yes, and a mohair, and do it like me. Knit yourself a Wilfreda. And Wilfreda is a beautiful name. I think before in the first it was a woman name. I don't know like this, but she say in the pattern that Wilfreda mean willed desired peace, and that is what we want in this day. Yes. So I have knitted in this sølje, and oh, it's so good when you can use from your beautiful yarn stash that has lay in this stash for many years, waiting for the perfect project, and here it comes. Oh, that is a good feeling. And this one I shall take on me today when I leave to Trondheim for go to show me like I do when I was a little girl. When I get a new dress, I always dance in the neighbor's wood and show me what happy I was to get this new thing. And that is me now, also 57 years. So I can dance in Trondheim today to show what I think about this beautiful sweater of Wenche Roald. And yesterday my son was helping me to film a little bit of when I'm wearing this sweater, so I take this movie to you now. So little from my place where I live, next to my house. It's only a few meters to go to this lovely place that we took this movie yesterday. Yes. And now we shall talk about what we are doing, and I is with a Knitalong called Huv på hodet, or Hat on Your Head, by a Norwegian podcaster called Marit's Garnkaos. She is only in Norwegian, but you can take a look if you want. And we knit a new hat every month. And the last month I show you, we're knitting this Tensfield of Martina Behn. I show you in the first episode, the first English episode I make, this hat. And I was so fond of this technique and so inspired, and so yes, I think it was so fun to knit this hat that I have to knit one more. So here is the next one, and this I have knit from a yarn called Pan, that is from a little spinneri called Telespinn that live down in the Norway, south in the Norway, and they also have this special focus on the grey yarn and the grey wool, the pelswool, but also do spinning from mohair goat. So this is mohair goat palm, a little sport weight, I think. And here I also have some color hand dyed by this factory I talk about when I talk about my Wilfreda. Yes, the mohair, the garnsur here. This is also from garnsur. Yes, and a little leftover I had. And back here, yes, you have this Villull yarn, a little grey Villull yarn from my own yarn, old sheep. So this hat is so fun, and it looks like a bath hat, other from the 20th century, yes. And I will show you why I think this is so fun, because when you start, it looks like a shawl. You see here? Yes, and the cat is on the table. It's always on my table, and I try to throw it down, but he will lay on the table. But you see, it looks like a scarf, and you knit different part of the pattern, and suddenly you get this hat. So if you want to go into know something new technique, something that is a little fun to knit, I recommended this hat of Martina Behn, the Tensfield. Yes, so go in and check Martina. And now we have a new pattern, and this I don't have come very far. It's only in this start of ribbing. Perhaps someone already can guess what it is, but I have a little picture here. This is the Buggiflooer Beanie, and it's a part of the hat from the Shetland Wool Festival. They have one new hat pattern every year, and this year is Alison Rendal that has designed this Buggiflooer Beanie. Yes, and I have knitted many of this hat before, and so I was so glad she has chose this pattern from the Shetland Wool. My big wishes is to travel to the Shetlands Wool Festival. Oh, I have so, yes, it will be the big dream to go there and visit there. But I am a little afraid to go alone, so perhaps it's then I do this in English, because if I can meet some of you in the Shetlands Wool Festival, it will be a little safer for me, and I hope someday perhaps I can have some of my Norwegian knitting friends to go along with me, because it's so fantastic to be in this festival. So that is my biggest wishes, go to Shetland Festival. This year I cannot, because I have a vocal group I sing in, and we shall in the competition, yes, in the start of the October, and that is the same time that the Shetland Wool Festival is. So that not fixed well. But next year it's not a competition, so perhaps in 2024 I can travel to Shetland Festival, Wool Festival. Well, really, you have to have that, yes. Thinking in Norwegian and shall go into the English out there can be a little difficult. And when I go to the Shetland Wool Festival, I can have all my Shetlands hats with me and change every day, I think. I can talk about what I have knit of the Shetland hats in another episode, I think, when perhaps this is finished. And I use yarn from Jamieson Smith, and I almost have all the yarn here, I think. Oh, it's one that is not here, because I wish to oh, no, I don't see the last one, but I have choose, here you have 5, I have choose 6 colors, because I want to go into a Far Isle technique, a Far Island pattern that choose colors very often and get this color faded on this hat. So this is the color, and one more, I think that is a pink one. I have one more of, but that you can see when it's finished. Oh, but I get so joyful to knit this Fair Island pattern, and I love it so much. I love color, you know, and I love also to knit as a color structure and a Fair Island pattern. I love that, yes. And also the old Norwegian color pattern I also love. So I love all about the knitting. I love this easy peasy one with a easy peasy pattern, and I love this difficult many colors pattern, and I love the color, and I love the nature. I love all of the things, yes, and that I have to talk about all the time. And if you not have so many and to talk with in the ordinary day, you have to do that like this and have a podcast that you can talk like you have many to talk with, yes. That what but that was the beginning of my podcast doing, and now as I jump into the English, I hope to get more friends and more to talk with like this passion I have of knitting. A little coffee in the mummy cup, mummy mug, and this is a beautiful, when the mummy is jump out in the sea, is the summer cup of mummy. I have a lot of mummy cups, mummy mugs. I think I have about 60, yes, 60, 70, yes, I don't know, lots of mugs. Okay, that was the hat and the Knitalong I have with Marit Gardkaos, huvud på hodet, hat on your head. And now we can go a little further, wider. And I talked about in the start that I was traveling to Trondheim this weekend at Tuesday. I take my little car and drive to Selbu spinneri, because I get a mail that my yarn was finished. Now they have spun the yarn, the wool in the yarn, and I can bring it home. So I have the opportunity to drive and bring it home. And that to come to Selbu spinneri is also every time very fine time. And this time I get to have a little chat with the leader Maja, and in a new episode, I don't know when it's come, I shall talk a little more about Selbu spinneri and all more about my Villull sheep, the old Norwegian sheep. And but you can knit about this yarn, but I have to show you the fresh new yarn already. And the sheep of our sheep is not only white, you know. You have seen some picture. They have a faded color, you can see in this nature color. They are often a little bit gray and white and black, and yes. So that to go in and get different color can is a very big job when you sort it out, the wool, when I have cut their wool in the summer. So I have to listen, take a one white here and grit gray here, and yes, and that is a hard job. And that is my ansvar, it's my job to do that when we have this cutting season, yes. And that is now happening very soon in the in the end of this month. We shall have cutting all over 150 sheep, yes. And that the whole family is coming home to help each other to do that. And here is the 4 color you can get from my sheep. This is the white one, and it is not almost white. You see it more as a off-white, perhaps a little beige, I can call it. but this is the brightest, lightest yarn I can get. And so is a light gray. This is the most of the color you can get. And when I do it very hard, you can get this darker gray. And so many of the sheep have this brown, or the black brown, you can also call it in their wool, and you get this yarn. But we have not so many of this, so I try to get more lamb that we can have next year, so can go into get this brown. And I also collect sheep with white wool, more white wool, that we can get this lighter, dark, lighter gray or off-white, or what you can call it. But this is all nature color. It's not colored by any hand dyer. It's the nature color of my sheep. This 4 color you get, and that is a different thing, you know. When the other sheep always white, and you get the white wool, and then you color in this fabric. But here you get this 4 color nature from the sheep. Oh, that is a yes, very exciting. And yes, and I shall show you here. I have with my a sheep skin. I don't know what it's called in English. And this we also have. I have a net shop, an online store. Yes, it's called BritStrikkenerd. That also I shall link it down here. And here is the skin, the pelts from our sheep, and you see these different colors that it is in the one sheep. And you know, it will be difficult to get one color, so here I take out the gray and lay a little black and lay in one bag, and here is the more white, and all the other is get in gray. And the special with Villull is this under wool. I don't, you can see here, you see under here is almost gray every time. Everyone have this gray under here, and that is why you not get this all white wool. And this under wool do that is get much more warmer. Yes, warmer wool. It's the special with the Villull. Yes, and I shall prepare for the take this episode and talk about the Villull and the Villull more in other episode. But I will also give you a little teaser, because I have this interview with Maja, and I have tried to translate a little. So you get a little teaser here from the Selbu spinneri. Der er vi i gang. Var ikke det proft? Ja. Men da skal jeg ønske velkommen til Selbu spinneri.
Jo, takk.
For jeg er her i dag for å hente 53 kilo garn. Det er sånn egen glede, for det er jo fra mine egne celler. Og så driver Selbu spinneri med leiespinning. Og da kan jeg komme hit og få praktfullt garn tilbake. Det er kjempedeilig. Og så har jeg med meg da lederen, for det er det du er. Kan ikke du presentere deg litt grann selv?
Ja, jeg heter Maja Espelin, og jeg er daglig leder på Selbu spinneri. Så jeg tar meg av det meste av daglig drift og sørger for at leiespinnerne får garn av sin egen ull.
Ja,
viktig.
Veldig bra. this yarn will also go into the online store, but I have not laid it in there yet because I have to do fixing my little store a little bit. So, but I shall give you a shout out when it comes. I have also exciting news about this because I have get a hank of yarn from the spinning, because here is your, see, this yarn is a ball yarn, and the hank of yarn is this long haspel. I have a haspel here. No, not a haspel. And I had get a hand dyer from Norway called Ep.3 that shall color some of this yarn into beautiful color that can use in color work pattern, and that I look very forward to. And Selbu has also begun to color themselves, and look at this beautiful color that will match so well into this natural yarn. And because it's a little celebrating that I get my new yarn home, bring my new yarn home from my ship, I give a little prizes to you. That is, if you take a comment under here, tell me where you come from. I am very curious about where you are from, and tell me what you like to knit. And here is the color. So if I will draw a winner in the next episode. Yes. And in this episode, this last episode, I also have a little prize, and they could get this Villull wool from Hillesvåg. And the winner is you, Wild Cottage Knitting, that is from Ireland. And if I shall try to get in contact with you in Instagram or Ravlery, or you can also take a shout out to me. But you win this little prizes from Villull Hillesvåg. And that to support us in this collecting of wool from the Vill sheep, that because that is nothing we earn money on. It's a zero project, I call it. But I have so in my heart that we shall take care of this wool. The wool is been throwing. We get no money of the wool if you send it in. The tons of wool is throwing away and not used to anyone and anything, because this wool has been a very low focus yarn, or wool in this yarn fabric, but now Hillesvåg has a little bit of it, and Selbu is only doing this in this gray sheep wool. So thank you to them. And my little bit of doing saving of this wool, because it is a beautiful wool, I think it's to talk about it and it's to get it from my sheep to and get yarn of it that I can share with you. And you can also support this little project with to be a patron. Yes, I have a little Patreon konto, and it's a 3-graded patron. And if you will be a patron, you can get a little % of the yarn, or I send a gift 1-2 times in the year. Yes. So you can go into the Patreon and see. I think I have translated in English, or my son has done. And I see it's a link down here in this side. Yes. Oh, I'm babbling and babbling and babbling. Yes, and I should have a new episode of the Villull, but I have already talked a lot of it. But in the special episode about Villull, I also will show you some of the knitting you can do with this yarn. Yes. I wish you a very happy knitting week. Perhaps we see next week, or perhaps it go a little longer because I shall a little journey to my mother that live other side of Norway. That takes 6 hours to go, and I be there in the next weekend. So long, and take care of yourself. Happy knitting.